Good morning, everybody. Man, that's loud. We are politically speaking today, Thursday, April 15th, 2021. I'm your host, Ben Dryden, and welcome to our fourth episode of Politically Speaking. As always, I'm joined by the stars of the show. In one corner, we have self-proclaimed undercover nerd, former Wisconsin Democratic State Senator, Miss Patty Shockner. In the other corner, we have attorney, business owner, and former Republican representative in the Wisconsin Assembly, Adam Jarchow. Politically Speaking with Adam and Patty is presented by Kirkpatrick Law Offices. Matthew Kirkpatrick provides experienced, professional, efficient, and effective representation in criminal defense, collections, and other legal areas. For more information, you can find Kirkpatrick Law Offices on Facebook or simply go to mzklawyer.com. mzklawyer.com. Adam and Patty, good morning.
Good morning.
So we always like to kind of start with just a little what's been new. Obviously, we do these shows once a month, the third Thursday of the month. So I'm sure we could probably have a whole show just on everything that's been going on in your life over the last month. But anything in your personal life, Patty, that has been going on that you wanted to talk about?
Well, for the last month, since the show last month, we had our grandson, our 2-year-old grandson, living with us. My son, who is in the Navy, and his wife, she had experienced medical and mental health crisis. She's very open about it, and we said, bring our grandson here. So we experienced the last month while they were healing and getting everything set up for her recovery. We were experiencing what it was like to be parents at 60 and having a toddler and poopy diapers and all the stuff that goes with it, and how busy we were. And it gave us a whole new appreciation for young parents today in COVID and everything going on. So we loved having him here. Mom and Dad came and picked him up, and he went back to California on Monday. And it was a great experience for us, and we were so lucky to be able to do this. And for our son and his wife. And, you know, there's a lot of people when you're talking about mental health that don't have that. And we were able to provide that, and they knew that love was in a safe place. So we're pretty happy about that.
Adam, how about you?
Nothing like that. I did go wakeboard.
I went wakeboard
the other day.
Yeah, I went wakeboarding. I saw that. It was like in the rain.
That was snowing. It was awesome. We had a lot of fun.
Cool.
All right. My goal today is I'm going to try not to say anything that offends anyone, because I have the PC police hot on my trail.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
My goal is to offend as many people as possible.
Yeah, buddy. Everything.
Goal.
Like we had a Positive Tuesday show a few weeks ago in 59, like what we're doing now. We always like to start just with a casual chat. And I had said that I was watching a lot of boys and girls basketball. I got a very passionate email saying that how inappropriate that is. It's men's and women's. And I don't even know who I'm offending. Am I offending girls and boys or men and women? So, I mean, I don't know. So I just want to start right away and say I'm sorry for your life. If you actually are offended by that stuff so easily. But I'm going to do my best not to offend anyone today. So if you catch me doing something or saying something, just let me know, and I'll immediately apologize for that too.
We need to have a little chime-in jar for me for swearing, and for Adam for shrilling, and for you for offending. And then every time something's done, Ben, you can hit the button and we can have a ding, ding, ding.
I've got a triangle here. How about this? See if you can hear it. How about that?
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be an awesome show. I can't wait. And by the way, at the very end, we have a lot to get to. At the very end of the show, we're going to be doing a surprise segment. And for anyone that had read that yesterday, I put up a little preview or announcement that we're going to be doing the show. I haven't even told you guys exactly what it is. I'm going to be getting kind of your first takes on 15 different people. But I haven't told you who they are because it's not really an organic first take, your first thought, how you would describe someone if you actually knew before. So I can't wait for that at the end. I'm pretty sure this is going to be one of those where I'm going to have to apologize because I figured I'd rather just ask for forgiveness than permission. So when we're finished the show, I'll call and I'll apologize. So, but we have a lot to get to. A lot has happened since our last chat, but I know, Patty, you wanted to start off. You have something that you are passionate about, something that you wanted to talk about, and that was parks and recreation, specifically dollars. What is that about?
So I'm really passionate. I was raised really to enjoy the outdoors and don't really understand people that aren't familiar with parks and rec and how parks and recreation are such a huge part of Wisconsin and really national life. So when you think about where we live. In Polk County, you have Interstate Park and lots of other wonderful parks. In St. Croix County, we have lots of great parks, and we have Willow River, and they are kind of the most visited parks in the state. We're lucky that we're so close to the Twin Cities, but what most people don't realize is that outdoor recreation adds about, let me look at the number, $7.8 billion to the Wisconsin economy. It's huge. Everything from manufacturing to fishing license. So supporting Parks and Rec not only supports, our local beautiful parks and everything, but it supports the economic development. And it also has wonderful implications to mental health. So one of the things that folks don't realize that just going outside, taking a fresh breath and a walk is so good to your mental health. And this has really shown a lot. If you think about this last year in COVID, where people have been inside so much, people were afraid to go out in their yards. You can't catch COVID in your yard, but you can walk around, you can do all kinds of things. And the same thing with our parks. We have to really utilize our parks and realize that most of our parks are run by volunteers. There are people who are very, very passionate about our parks, and without their input and what they're doing to preserve our parks, we would be in a sad state as, communities, really, because without them and all the work that they're doing to maintain our parks, that would impact our economic development. So when we think about Parks and Rec, whether it's in St. Croix County, Polk County, or anywhere in the state, we have to really look at parks and recreation as an economic driver and not a financial burden. It is an economic driver to really healthy and well communities. And young families nowadays are looking for Parks and Rec, what the communities have to offer when they look where they're going to move. So there's my spiel on Parks and Rec. Adam, any comments?
Oh, fantastic. I was going to ask the same question.
I only have two comments. One is I don't disagree. I'm a huge fan of, in particular, the national parks. My wife and I absolutely love particularly going to the parks out west. I would temper the enthusiasm with the fact that in Wisconsin, about 20% of the land mass is already owned by state, local, and federal government. That means no tax dollars from that land. That's a lot. And we buy, generally speaking, there are local programs, but the biggest program to buy land for parks and recreation area is the Wisconsin Stewardship, Knowles Nelson it's called. And we bond for that, which means we borrow. We pay a lot of money in interest. So there's a balance to be struck. I actually like it more and more if it's a local type government doing this. So for example, in Polk County, they are working on a comprehensive trail program through the county, and they have a big fund set aside from selling a lime quarry. And I think that's a spectacular opportunity for Polk County to draw in tourism. So long as we understand that when we're taking property off the tax rolls, there's an impact. So long as we understand that there's an impact on the state budget, and that, like everything else, we have to have a balance. I like parks and we use them. I'm just probably not in the camp of Patty, which thinks the whole state should be a park.
The whole state should be a park.
I mean, these commies, they don't like private property ownership. So.
Oh, you had to go there. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, yep. That's one. I'm going to start counting here. That's Adam 1. Okay, got it.
Oh,
Yeah, and I
God.
don't. I avoid outdoors at all costs. So I don't think I've even been to a park in like 25 years. The kids go to
Oh
them
my
all the
gosh.
time, and that's nice. But yeah, nah.
Well, I think it's one of those things when you go like the interstate park. There's a lot of historical things that are there, and it's just from the natural perspective. There's this. They're called potholes. I can't really explain them, but there's like these big holes that were made during the ice age, and it's just there's so much education that we can take out of it. And I just really, really think that if you have the opportunity, go to one of your local parks and just appreciate what we have to offer. You really, really will feel better when you walk away.
Okay, I'll try it, but I don't think that's going to happen for me. So before we get on, I know I want to talk about, or we had written down J&J Vaccine, some court rulings. I mean, there's so much to get to, but we have a question here. I wanted to put that up. Oh, hopefully you guys can see this. I'm curious, do current elected officials such as judges, DAs, lawmakers, politicians stay in contact with either of the two for consulting purposes? If so, how much of an influence do the two, where'd it go? Put it back up. If so, how much of a influence do the two of you think you still have in the quote unquote political arena? Adam, you want to take that one to start?
Zero. Nobody listens to me.
Zero.
Are you kidding me? My wife doesn't even listen to me. No. No, I have zero influence. That's why I'm doing the show.
Yeah, I walk around with the big L on my head. I have no influence.
All right, so let's get on to other topics here and J&J Vaccine. So, Patty, if you want to start here, do you think, obviously there's been a pause. Is this pause in the J&J Vaccine a good idea?
So, in my opinion, no. I kind of that 1 in 6 million or 1 in a million chance. That there's always ramifications. It doesn't matter what the medical trial is. For everything, there's going to be side effects. It's unfortunate, but as a woman who has access to birth control, that's a common side effect, blood clots. And women weigh the pros and cons all the time and choose to take birth control, knowing that blood clots is a cause of side effects. So I think that it causes a lot of fear.
Okay, Adam, what do you think?
Believe it or not, I agree. I think it was kind of an overreaction, and I 1 in a million seems like a pretty small chance on any kind of medical or medicine or whatever. And I'm not telling people they should or shouldn't get the vaccine. Do whatever you want to do, but it seemed like an overreaction on this particular issue.
I think yesterday when I saw it, I haven't looked today, I think it was 6 people reported out of, I think it was 7.2 million. I mean, that's just, I don't know. I'm not a medical expert. That just seems like not that many, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
It certainly is.
And someone did die. It's unfortunate. But with you do a risk analysis, and it's like, I think it's,
right.
Safe.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to touch on cold and flu season. I know it's kind of like a random topic, but I'm wondering if, Patty, we'll actually start with you again. I've looked, and it doesn't really seem to be much of an issue this year. I have some guesses what I could attribute that to, but what do you attribute essentially this non-existent cold and flu season that we're having?
Social distancing, hand washing, and masks. I mean, if you're not around sick people, you don't get sick.
Oh. Adam, what do you contribute it to?
Yeah, I actually asked a doctor friend of mine about this the other day, and what he said is what happens in these situations is there's kind of a big guy on the block syndrome. And what happens with COVID is that it's kind of the biggest guy on the block right now, and it pushes out the other less severe issues. And so that's why that he thinks that we're having a little bit of a down year in cold and flu. And one of the concerns that he raised is we're because of COVID and not having a real cold and flu season. If it was to go this way for a year or two, all of a sudden we'll start having kids that haven't had a flu season and they haven't really developed their immunity or antibodies. And I don't know whatever they won't develop whatever they're supposed to develop. Yeah. And so his concern is down the road we may have a much more severe flu season.
All right. Let's move on. Actually, this is a nice segue here. The court ruling on Governor Evers' emergency declaration. Obviously, that incorporates masks, which we were just talking about. Adam, from a legal standpoint, do you believe that they came to the right conclusion?
Yeah, this is one of the, I don't understand this. This is one of the easiest calls I've ever seen in the law. The law is incredibly clear about the emergency powers and how long they last. And, Governor Evers might not like it that he has a Republican legislature to deal with, but it is what it is. And so he has to go work with the legislature, and people will scream and yell and say, well, the legislature won't work with him. But that is exactly the system and exactly the way that it's designed to work, is that these guys have to get in a room and compromise. And you might say, oh, the Republicans are so intransigent, they won't compromise. Or Republicans will say Governor Evers won't compromise. Well, guess what? If neither of them sit together, or if they record each other secretly when they sit together, they can't develop that trust and come up with a middle ground solution. So I think that the case was a slam dunk. I seriously can't believe we have 3 justices on the court who disagree on this, but it just tells you about the tribalism and politics that are involved in our courts now.
Patty, do you believe that they came to the right legal conclusion?
I think if this is, let's go with the Constitution, this was their decision, they should have did it way back when it was first brought to them back in October and forced the issue then. By waiting until the numbers were down was probably the most cowardice thing the Supreme Court could have did. It's like, we're gonna say, and we believe in the Constitution, but we're not going to be responsible for people getting infected. So we'll just put it off until it's safe. And that does not help the whole the ability for people to come together. Sometimes you have to force people into the room together and force them. And by not forcing them, it just made it worse.
Adam, somebody wants you to go to diamond of a park. I think that's what that means. I don't know my emojis very well.
I go to parks all the time. I love the parks. My wife and I go all the time.
Are you a Republican or what? All right. So there was another court ruling recently. Actually, I think wasn't that just yesterday, the day before? Wisconsin Supreme Court finds previous DHS order limiting indoor public gatherings invalid. Patty, do you agree with the court's decision on that?
Again, it was just weak. If they really felt this way, they should have did it when it was first brought to them. No one's been following the rules anyways, so it's like stupid. It's a waste of time, and it's cowardice. And I guess I expect more from the Supreme Court and all of them to really take on the topics at a timely way instead of pushing it off to the safe zone. It's like, I don't know, stupid.
All right. I think that probably offended somebody, so we're going to put that one on there. Adam, what do you think?
So I actually agree with Patty that the delay was not good for anybody. I think it was unfortunate, and it gives suspicion to sort of Patty's side, and it irritates the tar out of people like me that think, why should justice take 5 months? This argument was held in November. It's crazy that it takes that long. I have something kind of interesting about that particular case. That case started in Sawyer County. The Tavern League is the one that started that case. Judge Yacklin, Sawyer County, entered the injunction originally and said this order is unlawful. The governor substituted judges and ended up with Judge Babler in Barron County. At the same time, a bar owner from Polk County intervened in the case. The judge let her intervene. The Tavern League acted like a bunch of cowardly, whiny babies and backed out of the case as soon as Judge Babler vacated Judge Yackel's injunction. And so this case went all the way up to the Wisconsin Supreme Court with a bar owner from Polk County as the party that was taking the case on, because the Tavern League decided to let its members twist in the wind instead of going to fight for its members. I mean, a 25% capacity limit for bars and restaurants around here, you really can't operate that way. So you would have had to close. It would have been a shutdown. And the Tavern League totally wimped out, walked away from it. And the only reason that this injunction stayed in place this long and we ultimately got this decision is because of one single female bar owner in Polk County. And that tells me all I need to know about the greatness of this country, that one single female bar owner in Polk County can be as powerful as the governor.
Okay, yeah, so I have no idea what you're talking about. You mean specifically there is one? And if so, can you talk about it, or is that nobody talks about it?
Sure. She intervened in the case. She hired a team of lawyers, and they intervened in that case, and the Tavern League walked away from it. So she picked up the mantle as a party suing the governor over this. And so it's just unbelievable to me, first of all, that the Tavern League would abandon its members like that. But more importantly, from just sort of a structural perspective, it's so cool that an individual from, rural Wisconsin in a little tiny bar can have this power. Even if you disagree with the decision and all of that, I think it's a great testament to our system.
Right. I agree. I mean, I think you have to, when you find something that you believe in, you have to stand up for it and you have to follow it through. And courage, a lot of times, comes in small packages. So shout out to her for taking on everybody. Good deal.
So Trudy, I apologize. I guess I put it up on the screen. I guess there was a question at the end. I didn't see it. She wants me to read the. So I'm assuming this is for Adam. When is the last time you visited this amazing park, the Diamond of a Park in Polk County?
Oh, interstate. Probably last summer. I normally go there a couple times a year.
All right, well, there you go. All right, so let's move on here. There's another court thing I want to get to. I think it's the last one. Was the court ruled on a lawsuit that was filed against the Election Commission related to the voter rules. Adam, actually, I'll start with you because I also kind of want you to explain what this is and why that was so significant.
Right. So what the law, again, this is what bothers me, is what you don't have to like the law, but what the law says is when people move, the Elections Commission is supposed to send them a postcard, take them off of the voter rolls, right? Because they're not at that address anymore. So a lawsuit was filed because the Election Commission is not doing that. And the court ruled against the plaintiffs in favor of the Election Commission. So now we're going to kind of have these voter rolls with a whole bunch of people on there that aren't at their correct addresses. And I always think it's unfortunate when courts and judges, even if they don't particularly love the law or the outcomes, unless there's a constitutional issue, that you don't uphold what the statute says. And I particularly am irritated when it's, those judges who run as conservatives and then they get on the bench and get judge-itis or whatever it is and don't seem to follow through on those campaign promises.
Yeah. Patty, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, the whole concept of taking names off the list, I think, really falls locally. That's just my opinion. I mean, the local clerks and that know when people die, and all that. I mean, it's more than just moving. It's, there are people on the list that have been deceased for years that are still on the list. And there has to be a way to effectively take care of this. Is it the Elections Commission's responsibility? I don't know. Is it the court's responsibility? We have to figure out how to get this right, because it just causes angst with everybody. One group is saying you're purging everybody off the list, but there is a reality that people die every day and they're on voting lists. So we got to, figure out how to update our data. A lot of this has to do with the fact that we do not interface a lot of our public data in a way that we can have effective systems. And I just think that's part of our problem. We haven't really looked at technology and where this all fits in.
Actually, Adam, I'm going to put that back to you. Do you agree with Patty on that?
I agree in part, but I think the idea that we're going to have thousands of clerks at small towns that are very part-time cleaning up the lists is not realistic. I think that's why we have this professional group called the Elections Commission, and they have a staff that does this. So, and I think it's about trust, right? So whether you agree or disagree about any of these allegations that are made regarding election and election integrity and cheating and all of this, at the end of the day, for a representative republic to function, people have to have faith in the elections. And so if you have a side that is very concerned that there's illegal activity going on because there are dead people or people don't live there and they're on the rolls still, I feel like for that reason alone, it would make sense to clean up the rolls. There's no downside to it.
Right.
And most importantly, from a court perspective, it's what the law requires. So I'm not sure what the issue was for the Supreme Court, why it decided to punt on this case, but it's unfortunate because again, whether you like the law or don't like the law, it's what the law requires.
Right, it is what it is. Patty, in fairness, any response to what Adam just said?
No, I just think it's one of those things that we're really not that far apart on this.
Sure.
There is, I think if you get past the political stuff and get to the stinky part of the onion, it's like we know that there are people on rolls that are, and I'm just going to say it from the perspective of people who have died. We know that they're on the rolls. There has to be a way through technology that we can get this information through, because it just doesn't make any sense. Because as soon as someone dies, the first thing you do is contact Social Security and let them know that your loved one passed away, so that there's no fraud, identity theft. So there is a way to do this. I just don't know how. People make it far more complicated than it is.
Yeah. So we only have, I think, a few more topics here left to get to before I get my surprise segment in. But first, you are watching Politically Speaking with Adam and Patty, which is presented by Kirkpatrick Law Offices. Matthew Kirkpatrick provides experienced, professional, efficient, and effective representation in criminal defense, collections, and other legal areas. For more information, you can find him at Kirkpatrick Law Offices on Facebook, or simply go to mzklawyer.com. That's mzklawyer.com. And on a side note, Adam, you brought up Judge Yackel. He will be on our show 1 week from today. He'll be on. I think that'll be his fourth time coming on. So I can't wait to talk to him. So let's move on. We're going to talk about drinks to go, right? So I'm assuming you guys stopped and grabbed your drinks to go before the show this morning. Wait, no, that's right. Hold on, that was one on me. Sorry, I'm sure I offended someone on that one. So, Patty, explain for the people who don't know, what is the drinks to go? Because there is a kind of a version of this already. So, what is this? And I don't know. Do you think it was necessary?
I don't know. Adam owns a bar. I don't understand why this was so important. I don't get it. It was a huge thing to have drinks to go. Mixed drinks and wine, and I don't understand why that was important. So that's why I asked why it's important.
Oh, but geez, I should have started with you, Adam. So why is it important?
It's not.
Will you guys stop agreeing? This is a terrible show.
I mean, it's true. My wife owns a bar, and with a business partner, she owns a second one. I don't think we're doing this at either. I'd have to check with her. It's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It's just kind of whatever. I feel like a lot of what we're going to see over the next year is politicians sucking up to bar and restaurant owners and kind of making them be like this favored group. And it's true. I mean, there's no doubt that bar and restaurants took a big hit during this last year. There's no doubt. And, there is probably some things that ought to be done. But at the end of the day, if you're a business person, you go into business knowing that you hopefully are going to get some upside, but there's also risk, right? And so the sucking up from politicians is pretty distasteful to me. And I just feel like, if you decided to buy a business like my wife did, you took that risk. No, Patty didn't take that risk. Should she have to bear the responsibility of subsidizing my wife now because she bought a business that happened to run into some trouble? It feels like crony capitalism to me, and I'm not a big fan of that.
Okay, I had to think about that. Patty, what do you, now that you've heard what Adam said, what do you think?
Well, I just feel like it was a law that was created to support a a culture of drinking. I mean, just the drinks to go. I just think it sounds crappy.
And somebody did ask, isn't
And
driving, and I had up on the screen, isn't driving with alcohol still illegal? Well, I don't think driving with alcohol is illegal. I mean, you have to get it from the store to your house. If you go to Economart, they're one of our sponsors, so you see what I did there, Adam?
It's just that it has to be a sealed. It has to be a sealed container.
And this still is.
If you're getting if you're getting a Bloody Mary, to go, it's just that they have to seal the top of it, and then you can, in theory, you can get your Bloody Mary and your hangover burger delivered. You can come pick it up and bring it back to your house. And I get the theory, and I don't oppose it. I think it's fine. I mean, I'm kind of a libertarian, so I don't know why it was prohibited in the first place, but to make a big deal about it like it's some big huge win is kind of silly.
Yeah.
So then is that so if sealed is sealed just like with your coffee cup, is that considered sealed, or sealed is it with
you have to have some other seal, an unbroken seal, so law enforcement could tell. So I think what people are using is kind of some sort of tape or something. Like I say, I don't think we're doing this, so I'm not exactly sure, but I think there's a way that you have to seal it so law enforcement knows you haven't been drinking it while you're driving.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just to respond here to Ben had asked a question earlier, and it was about marijuana, and that is a topic that we're just not going to have time. I know we've actually talked about that, I think, on one of our shows previously, but we can certainly address that again. But I only have one other topic that I want to discuss before I can start asking you these surprise segment guests. So obviously this is more of a topical thing that's happening right now, which we try to do with these shows, and that is obviously there's a lot of things going on in Minneapolis right now regarding law enforcement and that tragic situation, as well as the Chauvin case still going on. So I wanted to ask you not necessarily about those specifically, but in Wisconsin right now, Adam, we'll start with you. Do you believe Wisconsin needs police reform?
Not really. I don't know what that means as far as police reform. Look, I live a long way from Milwaukee and Madison and larger areas. So if you were to ask me, does the Polk County Sheriff need to be reformed, or the St. Croix County Sheriff, or, the Amory Police Department, I would say no. I mean, they do a great job. In fact, if you were going to reform them, you should give them more money, because they're fighting this meth epidemic with one hand tied behind their back. And we should have prosecutors that prosecute these dirtbags that they arrest over and over again, and judges that lock them up instead of putting them out on sig bond. But are there things that happen in bigger urban areas that call for some reform? Probably. I just don't know exactly what they are. I guess I don't know enough about what happens in urban policing to have a great opinion on it.
All right. And Patty, I'll get to you in a second with that same question, but I did call Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald this morning, and he had mentioned that I think he's going to a meeting tonight to talk about this. I believe there may be a bill, or unless it's already kind of circulating now, about potential, I think there may be like 10 items on this police reform. And I said, so what are some of these things? He goes, a lot of them are just things that either we kind of maybe already do, but it's just not written down. And it could be posting things on our website, certain things. So some of it is maybe just more transparency. Some of it could be like getting rid of a certain a move or a way to arrest someone. He goes, there's different ones. So we're, and I asked him, I said, do you think? He goes, I mean, we're always open to doing something different. Excuse me, if that means we can do better. But in terms of like unilateral stuff, he goes, I don't know. He goes, but I'm still learning about this stuff too. So, Patty, what are your thoughts on police reform, specifically in Wisconsin? Do you think it is needed? And if so, what kind of reform?
So I think when we talk about police reform, it's really about equity and equality and what's going on. And we live primarily in a very white area. So the topics that they're talking about, we don't really see and understand. So I think this is a perfect opportunity when we talk about reform. I agree with Sheriff Fitzgerald. A lot of that federal law, it seems like very stuff that's already been done, that is being done locally, but is not documented. And a lot of times you just need to have those policies documented. And then that there is a piece of reform. But we also have to have the right people at the table. When I worked at school, we had people of color in school that had very different opinions as to what school was like than 95% of the other students. So we have a growing population of minority folks, and I don't know what it's like to be in a minority population except for being a woman. So I think we just need to have more people at the table. I can't tell people what they're doing wrong if I don't know what they're doing wrong. So I think it's a great time for conversation. I don't think everything comes down to big huge transformational requirements, but a lot of times people just want to be heard, and sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, right now in your county in which you live, Adam, you're in Polk County, right? Do you have what is your confidence level right now in law enforcement in specifically Polk County?
No, they're fantastic. I have no complaints. They, they, to me, do a great job. Everybody makes mistakes in any job, including me. Nobody's perfect, but I think Brent and his team do a great job. I think the deputies do a great job. I think most of the local law enforcement does a great job. I mean, the only ones that I complain about are the DNR wardens, because I just feel like they're unnecessary and we should defund them. But I'll say from a bigger picture issue is, if we want there to be less tension and interaction between law enforcement and the community, maybe politicians should stop making everything we do every day illegal. And not only making it illegal, but continuing to ratchet it up. Used to be a misdemeanor, now it's a felony. I mean, everything that you can imagine in life is a felony all of a sudden. And when I was in the legislature, I spent so much time voting against and fighting bills that turned things into felonies, not because I thought necessarily that it was a good idea to do this or that, but because we can't criminalize everything in the world. Sometimes in a free society, we have to kind of be responsible for ourselves and our own communities. And by making everything illegal, we just have more law enforcement interaction with community members. And I think that's part of the problem. If we could focus on the big issues and leave some of these, penny nitpicky things alone, and tell politicians that, hey, stop making new laws for a while, I feel like it would be a much better situation for law enforcement.
Pretty sure you just offended a lot of politicians.
Yeah. So I would like to, just kind of piggyback off that. So in my role as a death investigator, and I work with law enforcement at every level, from the local, county, state, and federal level. I have never not appreciated and not felt respected by the people that I work with. So I 100% support law enforcement. But when I look at it from a perspective as a death investigator, how we did our work when I first started versus how we do our work now has really evolved in the last 18 years. One of the things that I think is really interesting is we're trying to be aware, because we know the different populations that are coming into our community. We meet with the Amish folks to find out, okay, what are your rituals? What do we need to know? So that we don't go in and do something disrespectful that we had no idea was disrespectful. Right. Last week, we did a cultural training on the Hmong culture. So I don't know if you knew this, but the three states with the largest Hmong population in the United States is California, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. And Wisconsin has the fastest growing migration of Hmong people from St. Paul to the Menominee, Eau Claire area, and the population is really growing. So as we're going through this cultural training, one of the things that we said was, okay, because Hmong people believe in reincarnation. Okay, how do we carry the body out of the home? And the Tao, the guy that was giving us the training, and he's like, great question. Always feet first. We believe they have to see where they're going. So that's a simple cultural thing that we learned, and we're like, okay, good. Now we know, but if you don't take the time to learn and ask about other cultures, you can't learn. And sometimes those little tiny things that we don't think are a big deal are big deals to other people. So I think at every single moment we have the opportunity to learn about something new, we should take that opportunity to learn.
I'm going to give Doug trained to not resist. No one talks about it. Yeah, so someone's going to be offended by that. So he gets one. So one of our commenters gets a ding. But that is.
But he's not. But Doug's not wrong. Have you ever seen the Chris Rock Saturday Night Live video about this? It's kind of old now.
I've seen everything from Chris Rock.
It is spectacular. If you haven't, Google Chris Rock, Don't Resist Arrest, and watch it. It is hilarious, but at the same time, it's true. Like, I don't always agree with police, and I certainly have a little bit of a rebellious penchant. But if I get pulled over, like, okay, I'm going to listen to what you have to say. And if you're wrong, I'll hire a lawyer and fight you later. And so this unfortunate situation that happened in Minneapolis, where inadvertently, I think everybody agrees, inadvertently shot this guy. Yeah, she screwed up. She made a huge mistake, and I'm sure she feels awful. But at the same time, what was he doing? What was he thinking, trying to escape? It's just crazy. Who is that person's mom or dad that didn't say, hey, man, you don't run from the cops because you're likely to get shot. Don't do that.
Yep.
So
Patty, you and I actually had a conversation about this yesterday. Because I had said it seems my question to you was, when we were talking yesterday, why is it deemed to be racist to say? Because just do what the cops tell you. And if it's a white person saying it, that is deemed to be racist. When usually the people are saying just do what the cops tell you to do, they're not talking directly. They're not saying, hey, black people do this. It's just everyone. That's what we all teach our kids. Be respectful. Do this. Fight it in court later if there's a problem. But why do you think this has become, or that is considered to be a very racist thing to say? Just do what the cops say. How did we get to that point?
So I think compliance is one of those. I think where we constantly say be compliant. I think it's the wrong word, and I'll tell you why from my perspective. So, and again, my perspective comes from being a death investigator, because I can tell you, in the 70s, when we had beer parties and we got busted, I was not compliant. I ran with the best of them. I grabbed the keg and I ran, and I did not get shot. And I'm just telling you that. So you can ding me on that. But
yep, definitely a ding on that one.
So I think that's just like a BS argument. Sure. But when you think about victimization and compliance, we tell children all the time to comply. But then look at the scandals in the Catholic Church. We tell people to comply. Look at the scandals in different coaching situations. We tell women to comply. Look at the different victimization that's going on. So we send comply is not the right word. That is not the right word. Because
what is the right word?
I haven't come up with it yet, but I'm sure Adam, he's way smarter than me. He can come up with it. I'm still running with my keg, man. I'm running with the keg. That's all I'm saying.
Awesome. Well, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, she does make a fair point, and there are different kinds of police interactions, of course, in different situations, but I can't imagine a time. Let's just flip the switch to something else. So I hate the mask thing. I hate the mask mandate. I despised it that my kids had to wear masks to school. But every single day, I told my kids, listen to your teacher, you wear your mask, you behave yourself. And I think that's part of parenting, is to teach your kids respect for people who are in authority, even if you don't necessarily love it. Because we all live in a society where we don't get everything that we want. And I just feel like we have to have a situation where if you're pulled over by law enforcement, that it's not acceptable to resist. It's just not. And I'm not saying that if you do resist, you should get shot. Of course, that's a silly thing to even think.
Right.
But it certainly heightens that possibility that would be the outcome, whether you're black or white, I think.
Yeah. Well, we're already at 45 minutes, which is already past how long we want to go. And I want to get to this. I know we had a couple other things. I don't even know where my notes went that I wanted to touch on, but we're going to move past. Actually, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to do it. If you guys can do it real quick, there are a handful of vaccine passport bills being circulated in the legislature. Adam, we'll start with you. 30 seconds or less, what are your thoughts about the vaccine passports?
I think there's two things. So if it's the government doing it, it's a fundamental violation of civil liberties, and we ought to not allow it, no matter what. I struggle with the private business thing. So let me just tell you two small. Just say Menards says you have to show us a vaccine passport to go shopping at Menards. Should Menards be allowed to do that? I don't love that they would do that, but on the other hand, I can always go to True Value and not go to Menards. But what about airlines? You can't really, if all the airlines get together and say you have to have a vaccine passport to fly, and you have some reason, particular reason why you shouldn't take a vaccine passport or shouldn't take the vaccine, I struggle with that. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm not exactly sure where I am on the business part of it.
Patty?
I think it's really interesting, and I think the business part of it is where it's interesting. We here in America are very fortunate that we have access to so many vaccines, so we are really far more vaccinated than the rest of the world. So I think that there is a thing, especially when you're talking about. I saw the comment.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put that on the screen to interrupt you there. Sorry.
But I think when you talk about travel, these other countries that we're going to go to probably aren't going to have vaccines. So there's going to be, because we're a global economy. This is going to keep spreading until we get the world vaccinated. So I understand where it's coming from. I just talked to a friend yesterday, and he said he put his COVID thing in his safe. So it's going to be an important document to have.
Ooh.
Where we go with it, I don't know. But I guess I'm going to take my vaccine thing and figure out what to do with it too, because I feel like if we want to travel, it's going to be something that's going to be required.
I haven't gotten my shot yet, which that probably is going to offend someone and make someone sad. I just haven't gotten around to calling them yet. And I really don't go anywhere. Yeah. Clearly, at the very beginning of the show, I've told you I don't go outside, right? That's like, no, I stay away from outdoors. So I'm just like the office and work. And I don't see anyone but my family. So I think I'm okay for a while. The other thing I wanted to get to was the governor and legislature are fighting is a strong word, but we'll say fighting about who's going to get control over spending our federal dollars. Patty, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts about them once again going and figuring out, fighting over how to do this? How's this going to end?
Well, I think he's going to veto all their bills that they put forward.
Most of them.
I bring this all back to the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court would have acted back in September and October and forced the legislature and the governor to work together, we probably wouldn't be in this place. Instead, both sides are dug in, and it's very unfortunate. And there's no clarity yet as to where the money is going to go, how it's going to go. So I wish that we could come together and the legislature and the governor to work together. I just don't see that happening. And one reason is because next year is going to be a campaign year. So they're both going to use it to villainize each other's side.
Yeah, well,
it's very predictable. Yeah,
and Adam, before I get your take on this, I've noticed there's one common theme here. It sounds like we all have a mutual enemy, and that seems to be the Supreme Court, right? Yeah. That's everything that we're bringing up. Bastards, I tell you.
Well, I don't view them as an enemy because they have saved us from Governor Evers' illegal orders. He is now over 4 in his illegal orders. And in fact, if you take the lower court decisions, he's over 7. And I will say, as a former member of the most important branch of government, the legislature, I am suspicious of executive authority, whether it's a Republican governor or a Democrat. In some regards, I'm more suspicious of Republican governors, but of exercising power. So I think it's a good idea for the legislature to be involved. But I agree with Patty. He'll veto the bills. So unless it's something that can get rolled into the budget and something that he can't line item veto out of the budget, it's not going anywhere.
And he's 0 for 7. He could play for the Cubs. My Cubbies. We'll pay him millions of dollars. We can't get a hit anyway. All right, so we're going to wrap this up with a segment that we don't have a name for this. And if this goes well, hopefully it will, we're probably going to do this at the end of every show. Except it won't be people, it'll be something else. So it is, I don't know what the name of it, but it's, should probably have some music on or something. Where's our intro music? There we go. This is Politically Speaking. This is your first take, your first response. It's organic. The first thing that comes to your mind when I say these people's name. So use a word or two words or no more than a sentence to describe these people, and you both get to answer, and we'll go in turns. So first, we'll start with, Adam, we'll start with you. So in one word, two words, or in one sentence, first thought, former President Donald Trump.
And I'm supposed to describe him in
Your
one
first,
word?
Yep, so your initial reaction, how would you describe him in one sentence?
Underrated.
Underrated, that's good. Okay. Patty, former President
I want to see
Donald
his bald spot.
What? I
I
That's not really a description.
Yes, it is. He is known by his hair.
Known by his hair. All right, there you go. Got it. All right, so now we'll go. Patty, we'll start with you. President Joe Biden.
Kind.
Adam, President Joe Biden.
Dementia.
I shouldn't be laughing, but that probably warrants a triangle, but we got something else going on right now. All right, so Adam, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Oh, I cannot say what I'm thinking. It would be totally inappropriate. How
about your
hope
second?
she's never president.
Got it. Patty, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Ceiling crasher.
Oh, nice. Very, very well done. You get a bonus point for that one. We should start taking points for this. So, all right, Patty, now we'll start with you. Oop, where'd you go? Oh, there you go. Patty, Congressman Tom Tiffany.
Mike Huckabee. I told him all the time he looked like Mike Huckabee. And sounded like him.
What was his response to that?
We laughed about it all the time.
Okay.
Actually, we got along very well.
Okay. Adam, Congressman Tom Tiffany.
So my wife says he looks like Kevin Spacey, but that's not what I'll say about him.
Oh,
he is probably the most principled politician, elected official that I've ever met.
Got it. Every time I think of or hear his name, I think my first word is always policy, because he's policy, everything. And it just anytime I even hear the word policy, I just think of him. That's what he's always talking about. All right, Adam, we're on number 5 out of our 15. Adam, Governor Tony Evers.
Incompetent.
Ouch. That's tough, buddy. Patty, Governor Tony Evers.
Inspiring educator.
Oh, there's a little contrast there. Patty, Speaker Robin Vos.
Mitch McConnell wannabe.
You're really good at these. Yeah. Adam, Speaker Robin Vos.
I think Robin would take that as a compliment because Mitch McConnell is wildly successful in implementing policy, and so is Robin. He's very, very effective.
That is true. Yeah, whether you agree with that stuff or not, yeah, he is good at getting that done. Adam, Senator Janet Bewley.
Oh, probably the worst politician in the state. She told her constituents recently they were dumb.
I did see that. That was, and you could, I don't know, context, but yeah, I think she tried to walk it back a little bit, didn't she? I think she put out a statement, a press
she
release.
doubled down.
Yeah, that one wasn't probably I don't know. That one was tough. That was tough reading that one. I'm like, oh man, snap. Patty, Senator Janet Bewley.
Small but mighty. Small but mighty.
Okay. Hopefully Rob's still listening. Patty, we'll start with you on this. Senator Rob Staffsholt.
Nice man.
Adam? Rob Stafford.
Incredibly principled and also effective. He knows how to get things done.
Okay. Adam, Representative Gay Magnifici. By the way, I should point out, the reason I'm bringing up all these names is because either that you guys know them or you know of them very, very well. Like the president. Of course, we're going to know a lot of things that they do. So ideally, there shouldn't be anyone on this list that you're like, I don't even know who that is. So Gay Magnifici for you, Adam.
Far better representative for the 28th than the former representative.
So self-deprecating. I love it. Patty, Representative Gay Magnifici.
Nurse Barbie.
What?
Oh.
Nurse what? Nurse Barbie?
Oh.
Yep.
That's not nice.
I don't even know what that means. There's one person that I don't know what that means. All right. Patty, Representative Nick Milroy. And by the way, hopefully neither of you are ever running for anything again, because yeah, you may upset some people. Representative Nick Milroy.
Very rural. That's what
Very
I got.
rural? Okay. No,
Yes.
Again, that's why I didn't want to tell you who they were beforehand, right? Because then it's not an organic response. Adam, Representative Nick Milroy.
The laziest, most ineffective member of the legislature.
That's not nice.
Well, it's not a nice list. Oh, snap.
Oh.
Goodness gracious. We need to start doing these a lot more often. Adam, former Representative Romaine Quinn.
He is, gosh, there's so many things I could say about him. He's just a spectacular human. Whether you agreed or disagreed, I'm sorry, but great dad. He's good in business. Just a wonderful person, wonderful personality. Just spectacular.
Spectacular we'll go with. Patty, former Representative Romaine Quinn. I don't know how much you knew him. I just assumed, you did because you were in the Senate and he was in the Assembly at the same time.
I just feel like he's like the king of bromances.
Bromances. That's great. Oh my bromances. Patty, we're on number 12 out of the 15. Former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish.
Governor Barbie.
Governor Barbie. Fair enough. Adam, former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish.
Notwithstanding that both Gay and former Lieutenant Governor Clayfish are nice-looking women, you shouldn't make fun of their looks, Gay or Patty. They're very nice-looking women. That's
I'm
true.
not sure which one,
but they're also incredibly intelligent.
Yeah.
So I'm going to defend them. But I will say the one word that is going to describe Rebecca Clayfish is governor.
Yeah, everyone's just waiting for when she's actually going to announce. All right, so 13 out of our 15. So, Adam, this is for you. Former Senator Patty Shockner. See what I did there?
Boy, that's a good one. Should I be mean or not mean? I don't know.
Mean.
Boy, mean or not mean? Which shoulder? Mean. Angel or devil?
Mean.
I have enormous respect and admiration for Patty. I think she's a wonderful person, great public servant, and there's nothing more that I've enjoyed after she whooped me than getting to know her better and becoming friends with her.
Patty, former Senator Patty Shockner.
I would say she's where she needs to be.
What is that even? What? Are you running for something?
Nope. I am not. I am where I need to be in this place, in this time. I live my hippie vibe, man. I am where I'm supposed to be.
All right. So, Patty, this one's for you. Former Representative Adam Jarkow.
I would say passionate.
Adam, former Representative Adam Jarkow.
I would say dad is the most important title that I have.
Oh, jeebers. You're laying on pretty thick there, buddy.
Sorry.
I will actually. I'll answer those as well. Patty, the only tree-hugging liberal hippie that I've ever really liked. Adam would be. Oh, these are actually, yeah, they are actually a lot harder than you think. I think he is what every Republican should strive to be, because he's not. Even when he was in the legislature, it wasn't a party line vote every time. He would challenge everyone. He uses logic and reason. That's what Republicans should be. If more people like Adam, Republicans like Adam, more people would like Republicans. Last one, Adam, I'll start with you. Ben Dryden.
Oh,
Yeah.
the most important media voice in northwestern Wisconsin.
Shut up. Patty, first of all, thank you. That was incredibly nice. Patty, Ben Dryden.
Fun, entertaining, and authentic.
Aw, that's what a lot of my teachers told me as well, and they always talked a lot about potential, which I've seen them now. And, yeah, no. Thank you guys so very much. We could go on and on. This is we just hit an hour. My goodness, we should start breaking these down to do, I don't know, a couple of these maybe a month, or some smaller segments once a week, or I don't know, because, man, we could just talk forever. I cannot say thank you enough. Thank you for both of you coming on, talking about these things, giving us your insight, your opinions, and your thoughts. To wrap it up, Patty, we'll start with you. Any final words for our viewers?
Just this weekend is the flood run, so if you're out and about, make sure and watch out for motorcycles.
Adam?
I second that.
Second. Ditto. Okay. You've been watching Politically Speaking with Adam Jarko and Patty Shockner, presented by Kirkpatrick Law Offices. Attorney Matthew Kirkpatrick provides experienced, professional, efficient, and effective representation in criminal defense, collections, and other legal areas. For more information, you can find Kirkpatrick Law Offices on Facebook, or simply go to mzklawyer.com. That's mzklawyer.com. I'm Ben Dryden. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as that we enjoyed doing these. We'll see you right back here next month, the third Thursday of every month, for our 5th episode of Politically Speaking. So until then, have fun, be respectful, and as always, have a blessed day.